For a very long time, watching cricket for Indians was watching Sachin Tendulkar bat. And while his career has given us some innumerable joyous moments, he's also dished out a few life lessons for all of us. There's always a lot of talk about Sachin Tendulkar's staggering numbers and his staggering abilities to produce those numbers consistently. But what is not talked about enough is his work ethic, is the amount of hard work that he has put in all through the years to come up to where he is today. As a school kid, Sachin played for 55 consecutive games without a break. That's 55 days of cricket without a break. He would get up in the morning, practice for 2 hours, play a game of 6 hours, practice for another 2 hours and go back home where he did not live with his parents and fall asleep on the dining table because he was too tired to do anything else. Sachin was ready by the time the 1989 year came about and India were to tour the West Indies. But the selectors overlooked Sachin because they wanted to protect him from the pace battery of West Indies, which had Curtly Ambrose, which has Marshall in it. And he was disappointed. But once the Indian team returned from the West Indies, he had churned out some outrageous numbers and it was impossible to look beyond them. Sachin was then selected for his first tour to Pakistan and the fourth and the final test in Sialkot, a lush green pitch, Waqar, Wasim and Imran bowling in tandem. Sachin came out to bat at number 6. The first ball from Waqar whistled past between his bat and his body. The second one skidded off the surface, hit him on his nose, and blood started gushing out of his nose. He fell on the pitch. The then physio Ali Rani rushed to the pitch. The non-striker Navjot Singh Sidhu rushed to him. And you all thought that he would go off the field. Everyone besieged, implored before Sachin to leave the field. He stood up after a slight dressing and said, "Main khelega." On his first tour to England, Sachin was getting out quite quickly. He would play in front of the wicket and get caught in front of the wicket as well. Sunil Gavaskar came up to him and said, "Wait for the ball to come in England. Don't commit yourself like you do in India." And the next game in Nottingham, Sachin scored a 68 almost on his back foot. He was standing tall now in his crease. He was punching the ball from his back foot. And then he went to the Old Trafford in Manchester and scored his debut century, which was one of the most remarkable knocks that Old Trafford crowd had seen. And the poised Old Trafford crowd stood up in admiration of a champion of tomorrow because they knew he could master the art that others took years to master. It is the 2003 World Cup final and Australian batsmen have piled on the misery on Indian bowlers and Indian fans alike. 359 for 2 of their 50 overs. Damien Martin and Ricky Ponting, that really piled on a lot of misery. The best thing for the Indian team would have at that point been to come back to the dressing room and say, "See, we played well and let's go back home." But Sachin entered the dressing room and asked his fellow teammates, "Can we score a boundary every over?" And the then batting lineup, which had Dravid, which had Ganguly, which had Sachin, Sehwag, said, "Yes, we can." He said, "Then we've scored 200 runs off 50 balls. What is the revised target down to?" And they said, they did the maths and they said, "It's 160 of 250 balls." And he asked, "Is that gettable?" On this special day when Sachin turns 43, it is beyond the explicable power of words to explain the 15,921 test or 18,426 ODI runs. But what is within the explicable powers, maybe, is to tell the life lessons that his career proffers. I will leave you all with a small snippet from Sachin from one of his interviews where he said that "I don't win my team matches when I'm batting out there in the middle. I win my team matches when I'm practicing in the nets at 4 a.m. in the morning while the world catches on to an extra hour of sleep." Thank you so much for all the memories, Sachin. Happy birthday. Long live.